Good afternoon. It is 1700. That's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, May the 16th, 2025, here in the Miraflores district of Lima, Peru. Sometimes the predator wears a tailored suit and a polished smile. Welcome back, and thanks for reading. Today, I'm dropping Chapter 3 of Trapped in Deception, a chapter where charm becomes lethal and manipulation reaches its peak. This is where Shawn begins tightening the noose, not with brute force, but with lobster, whiskey, and the illusion of respect. This chapter isn't just a turning point, it's a warning. Let's get into it. Chapter 3. Get your golden goose well fed and dressed before you kill it. December 19th, 2014, 1800. Shawn needed to tie up loose ends. He could not have some techno genius spilling his guts. However, he could not just kill Lamont and hide the body. A search would ensue. Lamont must be found dead, but not murdered. He took the unsuspecting geek out to a steak and lobster dinner at the Experience in downtown Dallas. A rich aroma of cigars mingled with the slightly intoxicating fragrance of aged wood and leather. Shawn spoke to the bartender while grabbing drinks and asked him to give soda water with a lime, but called it a gin. Lamont was treated well, and the beer kept on coming, while Shawn drank his gin tonic. Typically, Shawn would relish sitting across from Lamont about as much as a colonoscopy, using barbed wire without anesthetic. God, I wish I could drink, he thought. The geek was a pudgy, awkward man in his late 20s, standing at 5 feet 5 inches. His round face was perpetually flushed, as if he'd always just walked up a flight of stairs. A pair of thick, smudged glasses rested on his bulbous nose, slightly crooked from an old accident he never bothered to fix. His thinning, greasy brown hair clung to his scalp in an unkempt mess, giving him a slightly disheveled appearance. Lamont dressed in ill-fitting clothes. Wrinkled graphic t-shirts stretched over his belly, often featuring obscure sci-fi or gaming references, and cargo pants that sagged awkwardly at the knees. His personal hygiene was hit or miss. Lamont showered enough to be passable, but often forgot details like deodorant or brushing his hair. His hunched posture and fidgeting hands betrayed an underlying nervous energy, especially when talking to women, who rarely gave him a second glance. His voice was slightly nasal, with a habit of trailing off mid-sentence, as if he was unsure whether people were actually listening. Lamont's jokes were often mistimed or too obscure for casual conversation. He spoke in rapid bursts when discussing favorite topics: retro video games, conspiracy theories, and internet culture. But otherwise, he struggled to hold a conversation. Whatever Lamont ate for dinner, his clothes told the story. The evening dragged on like a dentist drill. Shawn wished he could drink more alcohol. Maybe Lamont's jokes would make more sense. Gosh, Mike, Lamont said, I don't ever have to work for those assholes again if I don't want to. The only person Shawn knew who was better with a computer than Lamont was Eddie Lutt, a former friend he had used. With your skills, I would think you'd want to start your own company and give Jobs and Gates a run for their money, Shawn flattered. I wonder when was the last time this loser had a date. Probably hasn't been laid ever. Don't forget us little people when you make it big. Remember your friend, Michael, who helped finance your dream and enabled you to achieve escape velocity. Do you really think I could be that big, Mike? Gasped Lamont. I always wanted to be rich and famous. Sure, man, you could go to Comic-Cons every week. Shawn paused. Say, I bet you'd pick up a lot of girls in that shiny new red Corvette I gave you. Never mind the fact they'll think you're a loser, Shawn mused, then prodded. Let me guess, you go for the mind. I like all my minds to come in nice packages, Lamont shot back with a teenage girl giggle. Lamont, slightly unsteady from the alcohol, seemed oblivious to the dangers lurking in his companion's smile. He was more engrossed with his phone, his fingers dancing across the screen in response to a constant barrage of messages. Shawn didn't mind. It kept Lamont distracted and pliable. Are you sure you don't want to be friends on Facebook? We can stay in touch and hang out, Lamont offered. I'd rather take a bath in raw cow meat and blood and be slowly eaten alive by piranhas. Well, let's see if I can try that thing. Sure, I'll call you tomorrow, and you talk me through it, okay? You won't be talking to anyone tomorrow, Shawn thought. Shawn feigned ignorance about social media. He had burner accounts under different names, used only to track or manipulate people, but never his own face. No one would follow him. His email accounts were also changed after every significant job. Shawn was no amateur. As another round of drinks arrived, Shawn leaned in with predatory anticipation. So, Lamont, I'm absolutely fascinated by this algorithm you've created. How does it work? My God, I bet this is the highlight of your week, isn't it? You're not just a nerd, you're a superpower nerd. As in a nerd with extra special powers at being a nerd. How can someone be so intelligent and yet so stupid at the same time? Shawn grasped the fundamentals of the algorithm, but mastering its adaptability required deeper insight. He needed to modify its purpose and function seamlessly. That meant uncovering more of the algorithm's hidden backdoor capabilities, knowledge only Lamont could provide. Lamont was already on his second old-fashioned. The server had just cleared the appetizer plates, and the thick smell of butter and grilled meat hung in the air. Shawn smiled. This guy is easy. A shiny red Corvette and a glove box full of gold Krugerrands would do that. Shawn leaned back. So tell me, Lamont, be honest. How long did it take you to build this thing? Lamont grinned. Longer than you think. The math was brutal. But once the core logic clicked, man, it practically wrote itself. Yeah, I've seen it run. It's beautiful, clean, elegant. Hell, I almost want to frame it. Shawn laughed and signaled for more drinks. He lowered his voice. I did notice something weird, though. Tried to poke around the edges, and boom, locked out. Lamont smirked, tapping his temple. That's by design, my friend. You didn't pay me to build a sandbox. You paid me to build a vault. Shawn chuckled. Right. Just didn't expect it to be that airtight. He gave Lamont a long look. But let's say I need to adjust it later. Real word changes. Priority shift. I mean, there's got to be a back door, right? There's a back door, but it only opens for me. Shawn tilted his head. Meaning what? Lamont exhaled. If you want to make changes, you need the override, a code. Shawn raised his eyebrows. A code? One word? Phrase? Lamont grinned, enjoying the moment. Override code. Just one line. Hardwired. Without it, you're dead in the water. But don't worry, nothing shady. You got what you paid for. Of course, just for peace of mind, what's the code? Lamont hesitated. I usually don't give that out. Shawn smiled. Lamont, come on. I just gave you more gold than Fort Knox and a Corvette. Help me sleep better at night. And for you to sleep for eternity. Lamont shrugged. All right, just don't go screwing it up. He wrote on a napkin. Override underscore code equals Lamont underscore 1411. Shawn memorized it instantly, then folded and pocketed the napkin. Now Lamont was a liability. Shawn had already manipulated internal logging systems, corrupted auditing protocols, and exploited legacy software loopholes. By the time anyone got suspicious, the data trails would lead nowhere. As Lamont's words slurred and his eyes glazed, Shawn thought, I wonder if the poison is even necessary. Better safe than sorry. Lamont was drooling now. Shawn kept a neutral expression. Earlier, Shawn had stolen a Honda Accord and traded it for cocaine. He'd arranged everything. During a restroom break, he handed the keys to a man named Tiggs, sampled the goods, then returned. Sorry, dude, I had to make a quick phone call. Better reception outside. No issues, Lamont said, getting up now. Now I'm the one who needs the restroom. Well, Lamont was gone. Shawn uncapped a vial and poured powdered cocaine and powdered wolfsbane into Lamont's drink. Subtle, lethal, untraceable enough for the coroner to write it off as self-inflicted stupidity. Lamont's life must end tonight. When Lamont returned, Shawn smiled at him. The same smile he had used on every fool he had destroyed before. You were always destined to be a worker, never a leader. This restaurant was new to both of them. That was intentional. Shawn paid everything in cash. The night wore on. As the bar emptied and midnight approached, the drugs took hold. The autopsy might find cocaine, but not the subtle fingerprint of a calculated murder. Vermont would be found days later, maybe longer. And when they did, it wouldn't matter. Shawn would be long gone. That's how it begins. Not with a gunshot, but a napkin, a drink, a lie. By the end of chapter 3, the tone is set. This isn't a story about violence. It's about control. Psychological warfare wrapped in charm. If you're enjoying the unraveling, follow along at kenweb69.com. That's where the raw truth behind Trapped in Deception lives, and where I'll be sharing more chapters, behind-the-scenes insights, and launch details. You can also find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. But for the most up-to-date content and exclusive previews, visit the site. Stay sharp. The web gets tighter from here. I'm Ken Webb, and I'll see you next time.